Well, Miles, it's good to see. It's been a couple of weeks since, obviously, the stadium game and you guys securing the double and mid-league title here at the Tough Sheet. So let's just have a quick look back at that day, and obviously your immediate reflections were probably you were probably still slightly emotional, but having looked back at it now, as you probably would have done with your coaching staff, how do you look back on that day and how we sealed the title?
Yeah, it was a special day, wasn't it? It was a day that will certainly, the memories will live with everybody involved for a very long time. Obviously the players and the staff that were involved on the day, and just the wider club and the fans that were here as well. To win the game in your home stadium, with a stadium that with this size, and with the fans that we had in there, over 2,500 I think it was. That's the way you want to do it. Last game of the season, winning 3-0. So yeah, listen, it was a really special day, and I think there's still smiles on everybody's faces, which is nice to see. And
it's almost a statement as well of what we're trying to build here and what we're trying to create, and the environment and everything that goes with building a squad almost from scratch after moving it under club operations. So that day as a whole, with people looking on from the outside in, it looks a very appealing option for people potentially who could come in over the summer.
Yeah, we hope so. This year, of course, the targets and the football targets was to get promotion, win the title and get promotion. But there's so much more behind the scenes that is important to us. We wanted to build a program, like you said. We was building a program from I don't want to say scratch, because the community have done an unbelievable job in hosting this women's team and taking it under their arm for a very long time, and Carl and Ben and everybody in the community deserves huge amounts of credit for that. The players that we've got in this team is because of the pathway that we have and the hard work that the community have put in over the years. But when I came in, the program, we chopped and changed it, and we almost started again, if that makes sense. We refreshed what the week looks like. We changed what goes into the week, and we asked a lot of the players, and we bumped up the program quite a lot with the stuff that's now in it. So yeah, we certainly hope it's an appealing one, but it's something, as I said at the start, we're really proud of that. We're really proud of the program that we've built in year one. We're really proud of what we have here at Bolton, and we can only have those things and build this program for all the people that have supported it. Everybody that's involved in this football club, from Sharon and Phil, Niaz to everybody that's in the first team, the men's first team, that have supported it and been welcoming of the women's team to share their facility. Everybody in the wider club, and everybody that works tirelessly in the offices around the stadium that now support this women's team. It's everybody that's made this women's team this year successful. It's not just the coaching team or the players on the pitch. It takes a real huge effort from a whole club operational standpoint to make it successful, and huge amounts of thank yous have to go out. I've tried to make sure I've thanked everybody, but huge amounts of thank yous has to go out to everybody for that.
And you touched on your answer. From a football perspective, the goal was simple, was to get promoted, but 20 wins, 2 draws and no defeats, and a cup as well to go along with that. When you were probably envisaging how this season was going to go, you probably weren't going to imagine it'd be that. And with that record, it'd take you to the last game of the season to get it done as well at the same time.
Yeah, especially that latter part. I thought if you'd not lost a game all season, you'd have it wrapped up quite sooner than what we did. But again, massive credit has to go to Accrington, and it shows the competition in the league. The competition in the league is high, and when there is only one spot for promotion, it's tough. You have to be on it every single week, and thankfully the team were. But yeah, I think at the start, taking this role, I've said it a few times, it was something new for me, to be honest. It was a new project, but it's one that I really couldn't say no to. With the ambition of the club, the passion of the owners, the passion of the CEOs at the time, and now Phil and Niaz, of what they want this women's team to be and where it's going, and just the potential that it's got, the potential that this women's team has is huge. The women's club at Bolton Wanderers has huge potential, and to be able to start that process has been an absolute honour, and it's something that I've thoroughly enjoyed. And we're hoping to continue to push that next season and continue to build on the success we've had this year.
And you give credit to Accrington, as they did, to push us all the way throughout the season, but I think credit needs to go to your young squad as well, because like you said, they're going to have to be on it every week of this season. That if they slipped up once, this could have gone a completely different way, and the mindset and the way they've gone about this season deserves huge credit as well.
Massively. And again, if you look at our team, yes, we brought in new faces, and we gradually continued to bring in new faces as the season went on. But we had a lot of players that were already at this club that have been brought through from the pathway, from the academy that we have here, from the college program that we run, from the reserves team program, the B team program that's run here, and that's all been run under the community. So without that and the years of hard work and service that's gone into that, again, we wouldn't have been standing on that pitch just there lifting that trophy. It wouldn't have happened. So again, like you said, huge credit has to go to the players. Huge credit has to go to not just what's been built this year, but what's been built over the previous seasons before I've arrived. Everybody's certainly made my job a lot easier with the success and the hard work that's gone in on previous years. But like you said, the players, we had a very young group. I think average age was about 18. And when you have a young group, as you say, players have to learn really quickly. And these players this year, they was put onto the stage. And there was a lot of eyes on them. And they had to adapt very quickly, and in camp we almost called it a bit of a light switch moment. It was like somebody pressed a light switch and everything had changed, and these players had to adapt to that. And they did incredible to do that.
And looking at across the season, I know people look at games against your wins over Accrington and obviously the stadium game here, that and the cup final, but is there any moments in the season where you probably thought, yeah, we're on to something? The games I'm referring to, maybe Workington away, where everything that went on that day and where you thought, yeah, this team's on to something special, yeah?
Yeah, Workington away is definitely one. There's a few games that I will always remember in my career at various different clubs, and Workington away will always be one of them. Before we even get into that game, the gods threw everything at us. They didn't want us to arrive at that game. I think we was one of the only teams, certainly within the local area, but in the country, in the country, there were so many games called off that day, men's, women's at the highest level. And we managed to get to Workington. The conditions were safe enough for us to go, and that was what we were told. And we decided to go and make the trip, but you get to half time 1-1, and you're thinking, we should have just stayed at home, and we could have quite easily rescheduled the game. But the team didn't want to do that. As I said, the travel arrangements that we had, they deemed it safe to travel, and so we did. But the character that the team showed on that day to get through, and I remember the players on the pitch literally shivering with cold, and they were absolutely freezing, and in the dressing room at full time after, I can remember everyone was freezing, and we managed to get the 3 points. And like you said, you look back on games like that, and without that, it's not just 3 points lost, it's the effect it can have for the next game, and the effect that it can have on other teams around you. It might have kicked Penrith on and Accrington Stanley on, and it might have affected us for the next game. We might have dropped even more points. It's a big thing in football. The other one that comes to mind is Preston. Preston away, the first time we played them. Right then we had a few different, the squad looked extremely different at that time. But I remember playing that Preston game, and I remember going 1-0 down and thinking, this could be a game this could be our first slip up here. But the team was absolutely incredible that day. The togetherness that they showed to fight through that game, and it wasn't easy. Annabelle saving a penalty. We're 1-0 down, conceding off a set piece. We go up 3-1, and Annabelle on a penalty save as a penalty with 15 minutes to go. Could have been a very different story. But again, that spirit that the team showed that day, and I remember everyone in the changing room was buzzing. We were celebrating in that changing room almost a little bit like we won the league that day, to be honest with you, because we knew the size of that result, and we knew that Preston were a very good team, and they'll be right up there at the end of the season, and they're top 4 now. So little games like that definitely spring to mind. Hindley away being the other one as well. I'll never forget that one, but we won't talk about that one too much.
But when you've won and you've had the success you've had in year one, how difficult is it to keep heads on the ground, feet on the ground, should I say, and heads together? Because once you have success, naturally you want more, and now that hopefully is a kick on for next year, but you've got to drive that as well.
Yeah, it's exactly that, what you've just said. This group of players, they're hungry. They're hungry for success. They were super hungry for success this year, and I feel like they've had a taste of it, and they'll want that to continue. Obviously, every year upon year, there's changes that happen across every squad. You never have the same squad twice. There's at least one different face that comes in, or at least one face, departs. And we'll be bringing players in that hope to drive that as well, drive and want to continue that hunger. But for this football club now, for this women's team, the train started moving. We really wanted to get promotion this year to get the wheels turning and get the wheels in motion, and we've managed to do that now. And we don't want that to stop. We don't want that to stop. The train's moving, and we want people on board that want to keep it moving. And our ambition is to keep climbing the leagues. Our ambition is to be better, day upon day, month upon month, and season upon season, and continue to build a better program, continue to have a better pathway, continue to produce players in our pathway, continue to win football matches, and continue to climb the women's pyramid. And alongside all of that, make this town proud, make this community proud, and rest assured that any player that steps foot in our dressing room and puts on that Bolton shirt will give everything they can, and they will always be hungry to get that success for this club, because it's not just about us getting the success for ourselves or all the players, it's about getting it for this town, this community, and these fans, and the players are reminded of that daily, and rest assured that will continue. And
almost away from the pitch a little bit, obviously over the weekend, half-time of the final game of the men's season, obviously you paraded the trophy alongside the under-18s and the B team, who've also done a brilliant job this season. A little bit of recognition for all those teams, and especially you guys as well, while we're talking about the women's team, but as well at the end of season awards, obviously first award Women's Player of the Year that has been under club operations, obviously won by Faye. Just tell us a little bit, I know you're a lot about the collective, but obviously Faye, when she came in, was a bit of a statement signing at the time, and the way she's evolved and obviously almost changed a little bit in herself over the probably 8 to 9 months she's been here. Just talk us about what impact she's had on this team.
Well, she made a statement, didn't she?
Yeah.
She, we like you said, she was a statement signing, and with that comes pressure. You come in as a big signing to a big football club. People expect you to do well, and it doesn't always work out for whatever reason. And again, she's still extremely young. She still has a long way to go in her career. She's got ages on her side, that is for sure. But she came in and did the business this year, and that's what it's about. It's about coming in and getting the job done, and that's exactly what she's done this year. She stepped into an environment that again is probably slightly new for her in her career and what she's had building up to signing for Bolton. And she's had to adapt. I think she's done well to continue to adapt over the course of the season, like every individual has. But look, 27 goals. She came in halfway through the season, was it, or a third of the way? 7 or 8 games in through the season, and she scored 27 goals, and she's one of the top assisters in the team as well. So look, I mean, she's a great player. She's a great player. She deserved that award at the end of season award. She, a hat-trick in the cup final, scoring here at the opening goal against Preston at your home stadium, and so many important goals and goal contributions and things she does on the pitch is unbelievable. And it's things as well she's done away from the pitch that not everybody gets to see. It's not always on camera. Oftentimes it's behind the scenes, and oftentimes not a lot of people know about it. But it's stuff that she's done and the efforts that she's put in away from the camera, away from the pitch as well, which all goes into that award. And look, she's been incredible. And as I've said before, she'll have a very good career in the game. She's got her areas that she needs to develop. She's still got areas she needs to improve, like every player. But she'll have a very good career in this game, that is for sure.
And look, we've been chatting for 15 minutes or so. Just before we sign off, you go on a well-needed break as well with your staff and your players. Where is your head at now as where this can go, and how excited you are for this project ahead?
Yeah, well, we have to take each season at a time. We now find ourselves in Tier 5, which is going to be a different challenge. There's a lot of strong teams in there. There's now a lot of teams that have got their eyes on us. I know that for a fact. There's a lot of teams looking at us, and there's a lot of teams want to know what we're about. There's the amount of messages I've had of teams wanting to play us in pre-season. And we have to take that on board. We have to, again, we have to understand as a club and as a group and as a team that, again, teams want to, they want to upset. They want to make sure that we don't get back-to-back promotions, or they might want to make sure that we don't achieve our goals next season. And look, I think at the moment the ceiling for this women's team is extremely high. We want to be a full-time professional club in the highest leagues of women's football, WSL, Women's Championship. That's where this club wants to go. But But all we can do is break that down into season by season or block by block. So now we've, as I said, with the train's moving now, which is always the hardest part to get it going. And now it's about trying to continue that movement, bring the right people on board who will help with that. And hopefully, have a successful season in this league and see where we're at the end of it, and then obviously evaluate and then look at the next season. But as I said, the potential that this women's team has got from the backing that's being received, and not only that, the people that are involved with it, not necessarily myself, but the people higher up, Phil and Sharon, and the support that we have from everybody around the club. We've got the right people in place at this football club, and now it's time to hopefully get the reward here.